Something was different the moment that question dropped. One sentence, delivered almost casually, yet powerful enough to freeze an entire hearing room. It wasn't shouted, it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't even emphasized. But the timing, the tone, the intent behind it, that was the real message. Because when a senator turns a nationally televised hearing into a stage and chooses that moment to ask what really happened to Jeffrey Epstein, you know it's not about answers. It's about planting a seed that millions of people will recognize instantly, and millions more will argue about long after the cameras shut off. And that's exactly why this exchange blew up online within hours. But let's rewind, because this moment didn't come out of nowhere.
Don't you?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI, Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. I think Ms. Page worked for Justice. The Inspector General found in its investigation that they hated President Trump and they really wanted Secretary Clinton to win. Is that true?
That's correct, sir.
And this would be the same same Ms. Page who sent an email to Mr. Strzok with whom she was having an affair. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right? And Mr. Strzok with the FBI, senior official at the FBI, replied, quote, no, he won't. We'll stop it. Did I read that correctly?
You did, Senator.
Okay. Now, Ms. Page got quit before she could get fired. Mr. Strzok was fired. And predictably, they filed a lawsuit because in Washington, it's easier to divorce your spouse than it is to fire a federal employee. Why did the FBI give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 to settle a lawsuit?
Senator, I do not know that settlement was reached in the prior administration.
Who made the decision?
The prior Department of Justice.
Who in the prior Department of Justice?
The settlement for that kind of case can only come from the Attorney General, which would be Attorney General Merrick Garland.
So the Attorney General decided to give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 after they were fired after actively interfering in the 2016 election. Is that right?
My understanding is that was a settlement they agreed to.
Pass me the sick bucket, please. The Hunter Biden laptop. In October of 2016, shortly before the election, the New York Post wrote a story that was widely covered talking about Mr. Hunter Biden's influence peddling scheme based on his laptop. A couple of weeks later, Secretary of State, soon to be Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, organized a group of 51 so-called intelligence experts. Had some real rock stars on the list. Jim Clapper, John Brennan, Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, and they said, oh, no, the story in the New York Post is not true. It's based on Russian disinformation. You remember that?
I do, Senator, as the lead investigator for Russiagate for the House Intel Committee.
Yeah. The FBI had the laptop for 10 months, hadn't they?
They did, Senator.
So the FBI knew right before the election that it wasn't Russian disinformation, didn't they?
And that was confirmed by the Inspector General's report.
Yeah. Who at the FBI refused to let the FBI tell the American people the truth?
I don't have that name in front of me, sir.
Well, would you look?
I will, sir.
I'd like to know. I'd like a name, not a division. I'd like the name. Person with a brain and a beating heart.
Yes, sir.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we are we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as CSAM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Reid.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Director. As you're well aware, Doge.
It was crafted, built piece by piece. A performance dressed up as questioning, wrapped in humor, sharpened with carefully chosen lines meant to echo far beyond the Senate chamber. From the very start of the hearing, the senator wasn't interested in new information. He was constructing a narrative, slowly, deliberately, one puzzle piece at a time. A Wisconsin judge here, a heated reference to federal law there, all designed to set the tone before the real hits landed. He wanted viewers at home to feel like they were watching justice being defended from lawlessness, chaos, and hidden political agendas. And every question he asked pushed that story a little further. That opening exchange about the Wisconsin judge sounded simple on the surface. A judge accused of helping someone avoid federal custody, the FBI stepping in, everyone agreeing it violated the law. But the words were doing more than clarifying facts. They were framing the moment. The senator kept repeating the same message in different forms. Do Americans get to pick and choose which laws they follow? Do judges? Does anyone? Patel's answers were short and safe, but the senator's tone made it clear. He wasn't talking about Wisconsin anymore. He was setting up a broader argument designed to resonate with viewers who already feel like the justice system treats people differently, depending on who they are and what political side they fall on. And then he swung the spotlight to a completely different part of history, pulling out a pair of names that never fail to ignite political arguments. Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, people who haven't been in government for years but continue to live rent-free in online debates. The senator revived their messages, their misconduct, their investigation, and, most importantly, the infamous promise, "We'll stop it." He said it slowly, deliberately, like he wanted every syllable to sink in. And Patel, now director, had to sit there and confirm the details. Not because they were relevant to the hearing, but because it amplified the senator's message. If two people inside federal agencies expressed personal political bias years ago, then maybe the institution is still corrupt. Maybe something bigger is happening. Maybe everything is rigged. If that's how political storytelling works. You take two people's actions, wrap it around an entire agency, then leave the viewers to fill in the rest. But the senator wasn't finished. Not even close. Next came the settlements, the payouts to Strzok and Page after their lawsuits. The moment he said, "Pass me the sick bucket," you could feel the room shift. You could almost hear the clip being crafted in real time, ready to be replayed on cable shows, podcasts, TikToks, everywhere. Outrage sticks. Outrage spreads. And the senator knew exactly which buttons to push to make that moment explode online. And then came the Hunter Biden laptop. You could almost predict it, because when political theater ramps up, certain plot points always return for their encore. The senator pointed to the letter organized by Antony Blinken and signed by 51 intelligence officials, calling the story potential foreign interference. He knew people watching at home already had strong opinions about it. He knew mentioning it would reignite frustration, suspicion, anger. And this wasn't a surprise moment. It wasn't accidental. It was strategy, because here's the part most viewers don't realize. The FBI already had the laptop for nearly a year, under an administration that wasn't exactly known for being soft on intel scandals. But that detail didn't fit the senator's storyline. He needed the audience to feel like there was a massive cover-up, something hidden, something manipulated. He needed the tension, the outrage, the emotional charge. And then, finally, came the line everyone remembers. The senator leaned forward ever so slightly, lowered his voice, and asked the kind of question that instantly lights up the internet. Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself, or did somebody kill him? Not shouted, not dramatized, just dropped into the conversation like a pebble into water, small on the surface, tidal waves underneath. This wasn't a question meant to gather facts. Everyone knows the official answer. Everyone knows the controversy. Everyone knows the whispers. This was something else entirely. It was the modern political tactic: reference a conspiracy without endorsing it, cast doubt without making claims, trigger emotional response without taking responsibility. Patel answered exactly the way a director has to answer: calm, measured, institutional. He wasn't going to feed the rumor machine. He wasn't going to validate the speculation. He said the official position: Epstein died by suicide in a federal facility. No drama, no theatrics, just the answer. But the senator wasn't aiming for clarity. He was aiming for reaction. Think you'll release all the information? Maybe before I die. That line, half humor, half jab, was the real punch. It opened the door to speculation without committing to it. It let the audience interpret the moment however they wanted. The senator got to play both sides. I didn't say anything, I just asked a question. And that is exactly how controversial narratives stay alive. But something else was happening beneath the surface, and it was just as important. Patel was walking a tightrope. Every answer he gave had to balance loyalty to the institution, transparency to the public, and neutrality in front of a senator who clearly didn't trust him. You could see the calculation in his voice, never defensive, never aggressive, never contradicting the senator, but never validating the conspiracies either. He couldn't afford to lean too far either way, because this wasn't really about Epstein or settlements or the laptop. It was about shaping a narrative that millions would hear, share, and react to. And the senator knows exactly how to perform that kind of scene. His questions weren't designed to gather information. They were designed to entertain, provoke, and stir emotions. This is the new era of political communication. Hearings as stagecraft, senators as performers, questions as punchlines, and viral clips as the real endgame. Every line was meant to hit a specific nerve. Every pivot was meant to guide viewers toward one conclusion. Institutions can't be trusted, agencies are biased, and someone is always hiding something that it's powerful. It's effective, and it works because it blends humor with distrust, facts with half-remembered narratives, and investigations with emotional reminders of past scandals. And in the middle of all that, Patel had to remain unshaken, even when the senator pulled out the kind of question that instantly revives online speculation. The director stayed grounded, careful, focused on official positions, not because he wanted to dodge the question, but because any deviation would explode into headlines within minutes. And that's what people often miss about these moments. They're not battles of information, they're battles of messaging. One person is performing for the audience, one is trying to survive the performance, and millions of people at home are left trying to decide which version of reality feels more believable. That's the bigger story of the hearing. A clash between performance and procedure, between entertainment and facts, between the desire to go viral and the responsibility to stay grounded. And that's why moments like this matter. Not because of the question itself, but because of the power behind asking it. That if you want more breakdowns like this, deep dives that cut through the noise, highlight what's really happening, and explain the strategy behind the spectacle, make sure to like the video, drop a comment with your thoughts, subscribe for more, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support helps bring clarity where confusion usually wins.